hour 2 of The Law. It has been a busy week for us. And maybe even a busier week for Meltzer because John is actually still trying to get him on the line.
If it's busy for us, Jay, it's 5 times busier for him, that's for sure.
It could indeed be. All right, John's got him now, so let's go to Meltzer on the line. Dave Meltzer, are you at a piano bar? What is happening?
I'm just actually leaving a movie, believe it or not.
Oh, what movie did you see, Dave?
Eddie the Eagle.
Oh, how
cool.
was it?
It was pretty good.
Is it Oscar-worthy?
I don't think it was Oscar-worthy, no.
All right, Dave. Well, so let's talk about what happened this week. It was indeed busy, of course. Shane McMahon appearing on Raw after many, many years of being off television. When did this whole deal come together, and when did Shane's name start popping up?
I guess from what I understand, it was about a month ago when it got pretty serious, about 5 weeks ago, actually. And it was when I think they made the call. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with John Cena, if he'll be ready or not, but I think Vince came to the conclusion that he needed something for The Undertaker and he needed something for WrestleMania, and they needed something big, and that was the call to make.
Now,
about 5 weeks ago.
And is it true, Dave, that it was actually Shane that pitched this to Vince?
That I don't know.
Okay. I was just wondering. I'd heard rumors that perhaps it was actually Shane's idea.
It may have. I can check on that, but I hadn't heard exactly where it came from. Only that it was about 5 weeks ago, and that they looked at the WrestleMania, and that was what it was. And I mean, the one thing with the Battle for Power was an idea of 2 years ago, as we all know,
right?
And they didn't do it 2 years ago, so it's an idea. It's an idea that you can do, and it's a WrestleMania idea. They sort of did it at that Survivor Series, a little over about a year and a half ago. But yes, but they're doing it, so that's what ended up happening.
So in regards to that, you've obviously dangled the carrot of Shane McMahon, who's a big babyface right now, taking over Raw and straightening things out. To me, that means that he does have to go over at WrestleMania. Do you have any indication in regards to how long Shane will be sticking around?
No idea. I just heard through WrestleMania, and from there, the decision's going to be if they put him over, he's got to stay.
Now,
as a television character. And if they're not putting him over, then he's done at WrestleMania.
And putting him over is a difficult scenario in itself because you're dealing with The Undertaker, who's a huge fan favorite at Mania. That's a complicated piece of booking to be done.
There's a lot of complicated booking. Look at the main event with Roman Reigns and Triple H. I mean, the whole idea is to get Roman Reigns this big babyface pop when he finally wins the title after a year. That's a real complicated piece of booking right about now.
Well, yeah, so sure. After what they did this week on Raw with Triple H, the crowd totally cheering for Triple H, they've really got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, in both of them. I mean, it's going to be a really weird dynamic with Undertaker and Shane because at WrestleMania they're not going to boo Undertaker, but I don't think they're going to boo Shane. But I don't think they want Shane to win.
No.
So it's going to be there's a scenario, and everyone's talking about the same scenario. I've heard Kevin Sullivan mention it and a couple of other people, and I mentioned it as well, with the idea that Undertaker tombstones him and then pulls him on top of him. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but that's the scenario a lot of people have come up with as a way to save Undertaker, but at the same time get the Shane McMahon winning, if that's the direction they're even going.
Dave, one of the questions for me coming out of this thing with Shane coming back, Vince dropping an F-bomb on the TV this week, seeing blood in that segment with Reigns and Hunter, are they thinking of going back to more Attitude Era style programming? Have you heard anything about that?
I think that it's one of those things. I don't think they're going to go Attitude Era, but I think that they're going to take more, go more in that direction when they need to go in that direction, which means, for WrestleMania, you got to go with what with anything and not hold back. I think that for the rest of the year, I don't see them going quite as wild, but we'll see. It's a delicate thing because if it's going to work for the fans, then you want to do it, but at the same time, you promise sponsors a certain product. I think if they do a little here and there, it won't bother anyone. I think if they go like that on a weekly basis, I think that, that might be overkill. So I think it's do it right now when you're trying to ramp up your business the next 3 months, and then maybe the rest of the year kind of keep it more even heel.
It's a tough one because I think you got to remember a lot of those Attitude Era fans. They're very nostalgic for that era, and there's probably a group that would like to see the product return to that style.
Well, the other thing is I've got to think that a large part of that fan base is Attitude Era fans, because when you look at that, Brian Alvarez and I talk about this all the time. During that Attitude Era, the average fan was 23, 24 years old, and now the average fan is 40 years old. So I think it's a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
The problem is that the strongest part of the fan base is from that era, and there's some older and there's some younger, but that's the key part of the fan base is that age, which is not a good thing, because the thing is they really need to make more younger fans. Not that they're bad at younger fans compared to other sports, but still, compared to what they once were, they're way down with younger fans.
So we saw a lot of developments on Monday night in regards to angles leading up to Mania, one of them being Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose, the reprogramming. Bray Wyatt's out, Dean Ambrose is in. In this particular scenario, much like Taker and Shane, you have two people that are both fan favorites, and one now being booked like Wile E. Coyote. This is another difficult booking scenario as we continue to talk about this leading to Mania.
Yeah, because one of the things is it's like they really want Dean Ambrose to be strong, but they have so much money tied up in Brock Lesnar. So they're not going to I don't see them sacrificing Brock Lesnar to get Dean Ambrose over. But at the same time, in every angle, Dean Ambrose either has to do a low blow or he just gets destroyed.
Yeah.
And at some point, Dean Ambrose has to do something, or else people are going to consider him kind of like, I don't want to say Zack Ryder because that's obviously too strong, but, the guy that we like, but we can't take him seriously at the top. He needs to come out of this with something that makes him a title contender. And I don't know that they'll go and let him beat Brock. That would work. But I don't know that, again, with all that money they got tied in Brock, do they have, of all people, Dean Ambrose beat him? Because I think that at the end of the day, I think they want to save a win over Brock for Roman Reigns.
And just leading into this match with Lesnar, because as Jay mentioned, we've got two baby faces. Do you think they try to heal up Ambrose a little bit as we get closer to Mania?
The way the whole dynamic is, no, because the dynamic is that Ambrose is the underdog who keeps coming back and keeps coming back. So I don't see that now. Now after WrestleMania, I do think that Dean Ambrose should be a heel, but then we still got the problem that a heel Dean Ambrose against the babyface Roman Reigns, they still are going to probably cheer Dean Ambrose. It's a weird thing. But the company needs heels in the worst way, because when you really look at coming back from, coming back over the summer, you're going to have Orton back, and granted Orton could go heel, but you're Cena, who's probably going to be a babyface coming back. And you got Seth, who's going to be very difficult to make a heel when he comes back, because people are going to be, very happy to see him. And our heel side, it's really Sheamus and Bray Wyatt, and they can always turn Big Show again or Kane. But the whole point is look at that side compared to the other side. They desperately need some heels, especially if Roman Reigns is coming out as champion, unless the idea is to turn Roman Reigns heel, in which case then they'll have a heel champion. But they spent years trying to fight that one.
Yeah, that would make so much sense and has made so much sense for years now. I don't know if they're finally going to do it. They put a lot of emphasis on Lesnar, Ambrose, Undertaker, and Shane, as we've talked about. A weird thing that I saw on Monday was the Y2AJ tag team that I just thought was strange, programming these guys together. Have you heard whether this is a long-term, or is this leading up to Mania and then we get a turn?
I don't know if it's long term or not. I was really surprised. I really thought that I thought AJ should actually be, in a real strong match at WrestleMania, perhaps with Owens for the Intercontinental title, and perhaps winning that championship. Because AJ really does have a lot of momentum, but if they put him in a tag team, it could slow it. Because that tag team, people just see the tag team division as kind of like mid card.
Yeah.
And I think AJ's got I think that the people want to see AJ as higher than that right now.
I'm wondering, do they do something with Jericho, turning him heel perhaps before Mania? This happens before Mania, and we do actually see those two one more time at Mania.
God, I would think if they're going to turn him, they would turn him at Mania. You could do it. I mean, we've got enough time to do it, so it's possible.
Mm-hmm. I just don't think you. I don't know that you make them a team and then turn them like in 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, you could, but that seems like you're really rushing something. I think to make the team work and then do the turn,
you would probably want the team to be together for a little while longer.
Dave, let's flip over to chat about TNA. We haven't mentioned it on the show yet, but this week it broke that apparently TNA is up for sale. What is the story here?
Well, the story is that they are saying that they're looking for outside investors. I guess that they need money. I don't think, if you really, it's sort of inevitable because where's the money coming in? And they signed all those contracts. So they're running around trying to pitch the company to people to put money in. It's going to be tough. I mean, you got a company that's lost a ton of money over the years, and you're trying to convince people it's a good investment. When they were still on Spike a couple of years ago, I think that you could do it because then it's like you had that exposure and you had that million-plus fan base that you could at least build from. But when your fan base is like 300,000 people on Pop TV,
yeah.
You know what I mean? If I'm an investor, I'm looking at this going like,
no.
It's hard enough to compete with Vince, on Spike, but now you're really behind Ring of Honor. You're really behind, you're probably really behind Lucha Underground and New Japan. I mean, you've got so much to, the TNA's in deep in a hole right now.
Well, the little money that they are getting, Dave, where is it coming from? Is Panda Energy no longer involved?
My impression is that Panda Energy is not kicking much money in it for any money right now. So they need to get money. They probably get some money from the ad sharing, but how much considering those ratings? It's probably not much at all. And then they got the international deals, the UK deal and the India deal that are probably keeping them alive. But still, it's, look at that schedule when you go on the website. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Excuse me. There's nothing there. I mean, we know they're doing TV in a couple of weeks, but aside from that, there is an empty schedule.
And finally, Dave, just quickly, what did you think of the Ring of Honor pay-per-view?
I thought it was pretty fun. I still haven't seen the TV version.
Oh, that's right. Dave was there live. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Live in the building, it was a very fun show. The six-man tag match with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega with ACH, Matt Sydal, and Kushida was fantastic. And most of the matches were very good. I thought it was good. I heard the TV tapings were actually better than the pay-per-view. So I guess they've got some good TVs coming up in it'd be March and April.
Just one quick question about that, Dave. Watching the pay-per-view, it really didn't seem like the crowd was much into it until the Young Bucks match. Is that kind of how it played out, or was that misleading?
It's not wrong because it was not like a super hot crowd.
Right.
It was a very Japanese crowd. It's not like they were bored. I think that they were not that into Paige and BJ Whitmer. I think they were into most of the other matches. They weren't into the tag team title match coming after the Young Bucks, without a doubt. But most of the other matches, it felt like they were into, but they were all psyched for the Young Bucks match. And I think they were into seeing Tanahashi and Okada personally,
right.
But not necessarily the match itself, because you could really see that the crowd was there. It was a lot of people who'd never seen the New Japan guys live, and they were very much into seeing them. But I don't think that there was that much interest in the matches per se, as much as just we know we're going to get this wild six-man tag with the Great Workers, and we're going to get to see a bunch of guys that we just don't get to see live. So I think that was kind of more the feeling of it.
Right.
But yeah, no, sometimes people go, it wasn't that bad in the building or anything. It really, there were a lot of points where it was very quiet in the building, without a doubt.
Right.
All right, Dave, we're going to wrap up for this week. The Observer this week, a history lesson on how Shane got back into the WWE?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, the whole Shane McMahon story and how he came up, how he left, what's he been doing for the last 6-7 years, and how he came back. Yeah, it's pretty much, and how that all relates to WrestleMania.
Perfect. All right, look forward to reading that, and we will talk to you next week at this very same time. Have a great week.
Okay, have a great week.
There you go. Dave Meltzer, WrestlingObserver.com is where you can find all of his work.